What's up YouTube, Demi here with a build update per se. This is not a build guide, this is what I've been doing in Incursion all of today. So this character is level 79, it is a Scion Cospri's Discharger, and I'm using Assassin Slayer, which is a weird combination, I know, but it works. So disclaimer, this character is not going to be designed for endgame bosses. If you're looking for something to kill Guardian, Shaper, Uber Elder with, this is not your build. If you're looking for something that's fun to map with and very fast, and has a lot of potential for like speed clearing basically, then this is a build that you might be interested in playing. So I've taken it up from, we did 5 of each map basically, bunch of T1s, T2, T3. I've been doing 5 of each until we hit a wall, and at this current level my wall was tier 9 maps. I couldn't do T9 bosses very easily, so I've just been doing a little bit lower than that just so I can actually clear the boss. So we'll go ahead and run a quick map right here. You'll see what it looks like as we talk through it. I leveled it with Poet's Pen from 12 to 70 in about 4.5 hours. You can equip Poet's Pen at level 12, right? First time using Poet's Pens, not the best leveling character, not the best leveling player rather. I hate leveling, so we did it the fastest way possible with the same skill tree that I'm currently running, which is just like crit spell casting, so it worked fairly well. But yeah, this is what the character currently looks like in maps. I do have enough crit to shield charge and crit, which is pretty cool. But in these tiers right now with my current gems and whatnot, I'm using like, I think I have level 17 gems right now. I can't really one-shot everything all the time. I still have a lot of jewel sockets to pick up on my tree for damage. Boot glove. I think I have glove enchant, not yet. I don't have glove enchant. Sorry, I'm really tired. I just streamed for 9 hours. But yeah, it's going well. The only issue we're having is that occasionally I don't have mana to cast spells, or sorry, to Cyclone, or I don't have power charges, and I therefore can't crit easily with Cyclone, so it's just like I'm sitting there spinning and nothing's happening. So we're working on figuring that out. While mapping, there's no issues, but when you're on like a boss of the map, it gets kind of annoying. Or like that, for example, I couldn't crit for a few seconds for some reason. If you clear fast enough, you generally always have your diamond up, so shouldn't be a problem. It's just sometimes you get unlucky even with such high crit chance, because you spend your power charges every time that you discharge, right? So it's kind of annoying. For those of you that don't know how Cospri's Malice works, it is a sword that says, what's the exact wording? Trigger a socketed cold spell on melee crit, right? So every time you crit with your shield charge or with your Cyclone, it casts the discharge that's socketed in your weapon, because discharge has the cold tag. I also have a cast on crit Cyclone set up in my chest, and you can get both of them to cast at the same time, so I have 2 discharges going simultaneously while I'm cycloning, which is pretty cool for single target. For AoE clear and while speed clearing like this, you can't just shield charge and everything should basically die. Here's my boss. I'll show you the issue when I run out of my boot leech. Maybe not. So bosses with ads, great. That guy spawns swords, which you can then proc your boot enchant off of those and leech. But yeah, it's pretty good. So let's go into gearing and whatnot real quick. Let's get a nice zoom in for that MTX effect. So, engine of the build, Cospri's Malice. This is like, how much was this? 8 chaos, 10 chaos, something like that. They're pretty cheap right now for like a shitty roll. I would prioritize the attack speed roll out of all of them, and the added cold dispels. Attack speed is primary though, because that's how fast you shield charge in Cyclone. This is kind of an afterthought. Decently high roll, whatever. This is actually a low roll there, but perfect attack speed, so whatever, it's fine. That is your engine though. This will give you the ability to deal only cold damage with your attacks, so that you can use L Equilibrium correctly. L Equilibrium gives enemies negative 50 fire and lightning res, and since we're discharging with endurance and frenzy charges, endurance and power charges, it's fire and lightning, so we deal lots more damage there every time we hit, right? Other really good items like Kosude, this gives you a 100% chance to hit, so you don't have to worry about accuracy at all on any of your gear. It's just like, it's great. This is the best slot shield by far. These are about 40 chaos right now. After that, you need Evolve's Protector. You want at least a 5-link. 6-link is about 3 to 4x right now. 5-link's probably 50 chaos. 5-link is more than enough though. And these implicits do literally nothing for me. If you can get a +4 gems one, that'd be awesome, but obviously that's really expensive, so don't worry about it too much. And then after that, if you can afford it, Vol's Devotion. I don't remember how much this was. It's like probably an X or 2 at this point, maybe 2-3x. I don't remember how much I paid. But this skill allows you to get endurance charges whenever you consume a power charge, right? So you get power charge on crit from Vault's Protector, you get power charge on crit by being an assassin, and you get power charges from Assassin's Mark. So I got lots of power charge generation, and then every time I use one of those or it expires, I get an endurance charge back. So it's just like a cycle that just constantly repeats as long as you're killing things and hitting things. It's great. You also get a bunch of life all resistance and whatnot from here, so that's cool. Other gear is just all rares. There are some nice shaper mods, like you can get cooldown recovery speed on your belt and on your boots. I don't have the boot one yet, but that is a shaper only mod, and tier 1 requires I think level 84 to get T1 cooldown, so it's going to be fairly expensive to get a decent belt with cooldown recovery speed. You also can't get a Stygian Vise with it because it has to be a shaped belt. Can't get shaped Stygians this league, sadly. But what that does is the implicit cooldown on the trigger here is 0.5 seconds from Cospri's Malice and from cast on crit. It's the same cooldown if I remember right. So you can only get that cooldown so often, but if you get reduced cooldown or increased recovery speed, same shit, whatever, different wording, it means you can discharge faster. So my current is I think 0.4 seconds instead of 0.5 seconds, and you can make it faster if you get another 20% here from another shaper boot item or boot mod. You could get, I think, it down to like 0.3 seconds per discharge, so that's 3 discharges a second versus 2. That's, what is that, 50% more DPS, basically. It's pretty solid. After that, it's all rares, so I have a rare helmet, which is fire damage to spells, life, fire resistances. You can get a shaped helmet that has lightning or fire to spells, I think is better. No, lightning or cold to spells is better. There's also an option to get a elder helmet with 3% base crit in it. Attacks have 3% base crit, so you can put your shield charge setup in your helmet to make it crit a lot better. I'm actually using Insanity gloves to make mine faster, not so much crit more, but just faster. These are Essence of Insanity. You can use Essence of is it Hysteria? One of the essences gives 3.5 base crit to your attacks. You can use that in your gloves as well. It's not Delirium, it's not Hysteria. It's one of these two, I don't remember which one. But you get 3.5 base crit there to socketed gems, so when you put your shield charge in, it gets the base crit multiplier. Cospri's base crit is 5.5%, so 3.5 boost on top of that is kind of insane. Or 3% in an Elder Helm is kind of insane. But rings, life resist, dex, you need a lot of dex. Life resist dex. Life resist movement speed. Life resist here as well. And life resist if you can get it. I needed a little bit more dex, so there you go. Pretty simple to gear, honestly. I paid like, I think it was 30 C for this helm enchant. Best in slot helm enchant by far. 30% chance for discharge to not consume charges. So it means that when you're at full power charge, full endurance charges, you just discharge for free without eating all of them and having to start over. Really, really, really powerful enchant. Surprisingly cheap. Like I paid 40 chaos for an I-85 Elder with the discharge helm enchant, and then I just chaos spammed it into this. Kind of stupid how good that is. There were no shape variants online when I checked, but Elder or shaped is fine. You can get added damage to spells with either one. Yeah. Belt I had from, or sorry, boots I had from my previous character. The belt was like 40 C. Gloves I think I paid 50 C for on the previous character. Rings are like 10 to 20 to 30 C each. Pretty cheap overall. If you drop to a 5 link and you drop the Vols, I would say total cost maybe 2-3x or less, which is pretty good for a character that can speedrun maps like this, right? Flask, I'm using a Diamond Flask with Freeze for the double chance to roll a crit. For your critic strike chance is lucky, that literally just means it rolls the crit twice and then picks the higher roll. So if you roll a fail and then a crit, it'll take the crit. I'm using a Quicksilver Flask with a bunch of move speed. Serious Promise for some leech, and then a bunch of extra Elia's chaos damage, which is nice. Then I have a increased recovery Eternal Life Flask and an instant bleed flask. You basically just need bleed and freeze on something, it doesn't matter which one it's on, and then movement speed. This is like a chaos. As for the skill tree, my current tree looks like this. I went Assassin for the crit, base crit, power charge on crit, movement speed, and cannot be reflected from your crits, which is nice. And then I took Path of the Shadow, which I'll show you in a minute. And then I went Slayer. Slayer gives you Culling Strike, gives you damage while leeching, gives you life leech effects are not removed at full life, which is really, really good for clearing, because it means that when you stop hitting things, you still have a leech pool kind of over your life for a second, or for, I think it's like 30 seconds. And then we don't deal fizz damage, so that part's irrelevant. But I took the Path of the Shadow, which saves me points, I can disconnect the tree here and take these nodes as well. And I took this starting node and this starting node because I'm using a pure talent jewel. While your passive tree connects to a class's starting location, you gain X, right? So I have Scion for 25 all attributes and Shadow for 0.5 base crit to everything. Really, really powerful jewel, actually. Surprisingly good. Thank you, Pint, for that suggestion on stream. That was awesome. I was struggling a little bit with crit. That helped a lot. But yeah, but before you can get these nodes, you just go through here and connect your tree that way. So you go through attack speed stuff and grab some crit stuff. Life. Eventually, I'll be grabbing this. You come up here, grab more life, and then you start getting some damage stuff. Life, crit. Your entire tree is basically just crit, multi, life, and attack speed nodes. And that's about it. And power charges. You need power charges so you can actually discharge them. And then a bunch more spell crit stuff, bunch more crit, multi, power charges, spell damage per power charge, life nodes, spell crit nodes, life nodes, spell damage. More life nodes. Idle Equilibrium. This one we've kind of talked about. Again, this is if you hit with only cold damage on your attacks, every time you crit with that cold damage requires you to hit, right? So they're going to have that negative 50% cold and lightning res. And then you're going to discharge, which will deal lightning and fire damage because you have power and frenzy charges. It's great. And then we got a bunch of Templar AoE, more life nodes, more LE damage stuff. And then here I'm using an Intuitive Leap. This is like 8 chaos. Sorry, I didn't say how much this one was, like 10 chaos, I think it was. But this allows you to save 1, 2, 3, 4 skill points because it allows you to allocate nodes in the radius without being connected to your tree. So I can grab just the charges and then all the life nodes and not have to spend the connectors, which is really, really good. Spend those 4 points on another dual socket somewhere else if you want. What else is there? That's the tree. So I'll add more points to this, obviously. I'm filling out this life node or wheel here, which puts me at levels 80. And then these will put me at 83. And after that, it's just jewel sockets. So it'll be, let's see, 84, 85, 86, 87. What else am I going to go for? I don't know what else I want. Oh yeah, 88, 89, 90. That'll be your entry, basically. If you want more damage after that, you can go for more spell damage stuff here. Or you could go for attack speed nodes, which might be better. Move speed, attack speed is really nice for clearing. You can grab, where's the other ones? Attack speed here as well if you want to go even faster. If you want more charge generation, you could pick up overcharged if you wanted. Lots of options on the tree. As for Pantheons, I have the cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or blocked a stunning hit in the past 2 seconds. I would max all of these Pantheon powers if you can, and then I'm using the Fizz reduction for each hit you've taken recently up to 5%. If you want Chaos reduce for the Chaos Spitter dudes and incursions, this is probably a good idea as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. Oh yeah, gem links. I didn't talk about gem links. That's probably important. I talked about gear, but not gem links. So, in your Cospris, you put a discharge and you put support links for that discharge. You're going to want to use AoE Control Destruction for the best clear speed, optimalness, whatever. Aura setups, I'm using Assassin's Mark, Curse on Hit, and Herald of Ice. So whenever I shatter something, it curses. That explosion can curse with Assassin's Mark. That gives you power charges and increased chance for them to take crits and damage, which is great. My other aura is Haste. You can't use Wrath, you can't use Anger, you can't use Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ash, because they all fuck with your Equilibrium, and this is more damage than any of those auras combined. So I'm just using Haste for the movement speed. You could also use a Blasphemy if you wanted to here. Blasphemy Warlord's Mark or Blasphemy Assassin's Mark is fine. Other links, Castle damage taken set up with Immortal Call and Ice Golem. You should level this up to whatever damage you want it to be. Mine is currently a little bit too high, because 2.6k is like 60% of my life. It should be like 30% of your life, ideally, whatever that might be for you. And I don't like casting my Golem myself, so I put it in here. If you wanted to get more attack speed, you can use the Lightning Golem, but I need the crit right now, so I went with Ice Golem. The accuracy does nothing. And then I have a lower level castle damage taken. This should be level 1 or level 2, so it spams out all the time linked with Warlord's Mark. This gives you life and mana leech and endurance charges when you kill enemies. The leech is the main reason. It'll just spam out all the time. You'll get extra leech when you're hitting mobs and that are hitting back. I have a Blood Rage. This gives you attack speed and frenzy charges. Frenzy charges gives you attack speed and spell damage. and they are used in the Discharge, which gives you even more damage from your discharges. So it's just nice for clear speed. I also have a random portal, because I don't like opening my inventory to portal out. Then the shield charge setup, because you need your melee attack to crit, I have shield charge linked with increased crits, so it casts the Cospri's Discharge. And then I have it linked to Fortify for the less damage taken and the faster attacks, so it just goes faster. And then main 6 link, I'm using Cyclone, cast on crit Discharge, that'll be your 3 link, and then you'll use Power Charge on crit and increased crits, that's your 5 link, 6 link conk effect. The Power Charge on crit is actually a really good jewel for this now, gem for this, sorry. It gives you crit chance, gives you power charges, it gives you more damage per power charge, so I have 6, this is 24% more damage with full charges. Pretty nice, actually. It didn't have that more damage per charge before, it's pretty usable now. But yeah, that's all my links, that's all my gear. I will do another update when I'm higher level, when I'm like level 90, so keep an eye out for that. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate you leaving a comment, let me know what you think, leave a like. If you want to check out my merch store, should be right below this video, below the description. There's a banner of all of my merch. Check that out. Follow me on Twitch. Join our Discord server. All the links to like the pace spin of me leveling with Path of Building, or sorry, with Poet's Pen for Path of Building will be in the description, as well as this current character's pace spin if you don't want to like watch the guide fully. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. That'll be Demi out.